Stranger in torn slippers. Rain had just washed Akena Street when the stranger arrived. The sky was still gray, gutters still bubbling, and the smell of fried akara and wet sand mixed in the air. People were dragging benches back outside, opening shops, shaking rainwater from umbrellas. Chimaka stood in front of her mother's tiny food joint, Mama Chichi's place, rinsing plastic plates in a big blue bowl. Her fingers were wrinkled from soap, her back a little stiff, but her eyes were sharp. She noticed everything on that street. That was why she noticed him. He came down slowly from a dusty bus at the junction. Tall, lean, wearing a faded polo, in jeans that had clearly seen better days. His slippers were torn at one side, held together with a safety pin. He carried only one black backpack and a rolled mat under his arm. He looked around like someone who had never been there before, yet somehow wasn't afraid. "New face," Mama Chichi grunted from inside. "Another hustler way Enugu, go swallow." Chiamaka watched as he walked towards them, avoiding puddles, greeting anyone who allowed eye contact. "Good afternoon, sir," he said to an old man under a shed. "Afternoon," the man replied lazily, already done judging him by his slippers. When he got to their joint, he paused. The aroma of stew and jollof rice caught him. "How much your food?" he asked quietly. "2 spoons rice, 1 meat, 700 naira, Chiamaka replied. He checked his pocket, counted silently, then raised his head. "Give me only rice, no meat, half portion." She hesitated. His eyes didn't have the usual hungry desperation. They had calm, but his clothes said broke. 300 naira, she said finally. He smiled. "Thank you." When she served him, he ate slowly, like somebody who respected food. No rushing, no licking plate noisily. When he finished, he carried his plate to the washing corner. "Leave it," she said quickly. "I go wash." "I know," he replied gently, "but I fit still carry and reach there." He dropped the plate, washed his hands, and turned back. "I'm looking for a room to rent around here," he said. "Single room. Nothing big." She pointed down the street. "Ask for Papa Odinaka's compound. And get back rooms." "Thank you." He paused, waiting for her name. "Chiamaka," she supplied. "Thank you, Chiamaka." He left. As he walked away, his backpack zip shifted slightly. For 1 second, the bag opened, and something shone. A flash of silver and black. It looked suspiciously like a sleek laptop. He quickly adjusted the zip. Chiamaka blinked. Backpack, torn slippers, but fine laptop, she thought. Now which level be this one? 10 minutes later, shouting started from Papa Odinaka's compound. From their joint they heard, "I know day rent room, give anybody, we no get stable work. Papa, I get small online work. I fit pay 6 months. Now wet and all of una day talk. Pay now make I see." Moments later, voices dropped. Then surprisingly, laughter. The stranger came back up the street holding a key. "Room 5 back," he told Chiamaka as he passed. "At least I get roof now." She smiled back. "Welcome, new neighbor." He nodded and walked on. Later that night, as she washed plates under lantern light, Chiamaka found herself thinking about him again. A man with a calm voice, a torn slipper, and a hidden laptop. Nobody on Akena Street knew it yet, but they had just welcomed into their midst. A man whose bank alerts could buy the entire street, a billionaire nobody recognized, and he had come for a reason. The compassion test life on Akena Street didn't change to accommodate the new stranger. Nipa still misbehaved. Kiki still honked like they were using anger as fuel. Landlord still shouted whenever he remembered rent. But quietly, the man in room 5 began to weave into their days. He introduced himself as Kalechi. No big titles, no big grammar. He woke early, swept the back corridor, greeted elders first. He bought a kara from the woman by the junction without pricing until she cried. He helped carry water buckets for an old widow in the next compound. To most people, he was just another tenant. To some, he was an easy target. One afternoon, as Chiamaka served food, she watched 2 street boys approach him where he sat on a block working on his phone. "Oga, I beg anything for boy," one said. Kalechi looked at them. "You hungry?" "Yes, nah." "Sit," he replied simply. "I go buy una food." He didn't give them cash. He took them straight to Mama Chichi's joint and bought a plate each. Why you no just give them 200 naira make them go? Chiamaka asked later. If I give money, I know no wetin they go buy, he said. But at least I know say they chop food. That evening, she saw him again outside, this time with a small exercise book and pen. He was writing something, pausing often to scan the street. "Na story you dey write?" she teased, bringing him a small plate of leftover rice. "Something like that," he answered. "Thank you." He ate, then looked at her steadily. "You know dey fear give credit here?" he asked. "See as people dey owe for the street." She chuckled. "We know dey give credit. If person never pay, we no serve him again. Simple." He nodded. "You get plans beyond this place?" She shrugged. "Everybody get plan. Na money no gree. I for don't get big restaurant for main road." "And school?" he asked. She hesitated, then smiled sadly. "I passed jam 2 times. Admission come. Money no come. So I stay here." He was quiet for a moment. "You go still go," he eventually said. She laughed. "Which year? When my children they write WAEC. "Time day," he replied. "Just keep your heart clean." Later, as he washed his plate by himself, Mama Chichi whispered, "This man gets something for body. You know they behave like person way life finish." Days passed. Small things began to happen. One morning, a bag of fresh rice and beans appeared at the door of a struggling widow. No name, just from a friend. Another day, the landlord, Papa Odanaka, stormed out shouting at Mr. Philip, the primary school teacher tenant. "You they owe 2 months. If you no pay by weekend, clear your load." That night, an envelope slipped under Mr. Philip's door, enough to cover 1 month. No name. Rumors started. Maybe one politician way they stay here secretly. Maybe Yahoo boy. Maybe one spirit. But Kalechi continued living like before. Simple clothes, basic food, quiet prayers, and that same small exercise book. Chiamaka caught him once, looking at an online news article with his name on it. KC. Holdings buys yet another failing company, turns it profitable. She saw his picture beside the headline. He quickly closed the tab. She pretended not to see. "Who exactly are you?" she wondered that night as she lay on her mattress. But she already knew inside. This was no ordinary tenant, and somehow, for some reason, he was watching all of them. The turning point came on a Saturday. Market day, street full, eyes watching everything. Chiamaka was serving food non-stop. Okpa, yolof, beans, swallow. Her wrapper was stained with stew, but her smile was alive. Mama Chichi stayed inside, turning soup on the kerosene stove. Around noon, Kalechi came by. "Give me food, no meat," he requested as usual. As Chiamaka served him, 3 of the street's loudest mouths sat on a nearby bench. Mama Queen, Amaka the gossip, and one man called Bros Emma. They watched him like hawks. "Now this one, way don change style now," Amaka hissed quietly. "Him dey form gentle. I hear say him no pay light money last month. For this our street, poverty dey hide under fine English," Mama Queen added. As Kalechi ate, the landlord approached, sweating more than usual. "Everybody come out," he shouted suddenly. "Tenants, come here now." People left what they were doing, gathered. Chiamaka wiped her hands and joined them, heart beating fast. Kalechi stepped out too, plate still in his hand. Papa Odanaka pointed at him dramatically. "Now this man I want talk about today," he declared. "This Kalechi," murmurs rose. "What he do? Maybe he thief light wire. Maybe he no pay rent." "He de owe," landlord shouted. "Last 2 months I tell him to pay 6 months at once. He say he go complete later. Since then, nothing, and he dey do online business up and down." People turned to look at Kalechi. He swallowed calmly. "Landlord, I know they owe you," he said quietly. "I have your receipt for 6 months." "Lie!" landlord barked. "Where the receipt?" "At home," Kalechi answered. "You tear the counterfoil. You know." Landlord scoffed. "You see him talking? This is how poor people they behave. They come from village, rent room, then start story. Today I go disgrace you. If you no pay my money publicly now, pack out." People murmured louder. "After all the free food waste street they give am," Bruce Emma added loudly. "He no fit pay rent? Shame." Mama Queen clapped hands. "He no even get TV. All this quiet people, they fear me pass." Chiamaka stepped forward. "Papa Odanaka, Biko, calm down. Maybe. Shut up there, landlord snapped. Now so you defend him because he dey chop for here. When Nepa disconnect us now, you go cry. He turned back to Kelechi. I know they take nonsense. Pay now or get out. All eyes focused on the man in torn slippers. Kelechi looked around slowly, at mocking faces, careless faces, and a few embarrassed ones. I no go argue with you here, he said softly. But remember this day, sir. Landlord laughed. Who you be where I go, remember? Common tenant. He pushed Kelechi's plate out of his hand. Food spilled on the ground. Next week, if you no pay extra 3 months join, you dey go, landlord concluded. Some people nodded approval. Others looked away, guilty. Chiamaka bent to pick the plate, shame burning her chest as if the insult touched her too. I'm sorry, she whispered. It's okay, Kelechi replied, voice steady. Truth no, they fear noise. He walked back to the back rooms quietly. The compound slowly dissolved back into normal noises. But something had shifted. A line had been crossed. Only a few people on Ekena Street felt it. The ones who had defended him. The ones who had laughed. And the one man who had just publicly disgraced a billionaire without knowing. No one expected. 4 days later, Ekena Street woke up to a strange silence. No early shouting from landlord. No loud gospel music. Even the usual bread hawker's voice seemed softer. Then they heard it. Vroom, vroom. Engines. Smooth engines. Not rickety kiki, not old buses. 3 black SUVs turned into the street slowly, their bodies shining like wet stone. People rushed out. Jesus, who die? Maybe politician, don't come. Maybe EFCC. The SUV stopped in front of Papa Odinaka's compound. From the first one, a woman in suit stepped down with a tablet in hand. From the second, 2 men in matching Navy suits came out. They scanned the compound, then one turned to the other. This is the place, he said. Landlord emerged, tying wrapper over singlet, eyes wide. You are welcome, sirs, he boomed. Ekena Street welcomes you. The woman checked her tablet. We're from KC Holdings Group. Our chairman is on his way. He asked to meet you and your tenants. Chairman? Landlord repeated, nearly bowing. Ah, he is coming here personally? Yes, she replied. As if on cue, the third SUV door opened. A man stepped out. White shirt, dark trousers, clean shoes, no tie, no gold chain. Just one simple, elegant wristwatch. Chiamaka's heart jumped. Kelechi, but different, cleaner, taller somehow. Same face, same calm eyes, now sharp and fully awake. Landlord froze. Tenants stared. The street went silent. The woman in suit moved quickly to his side. Good morning, sir. Morning, Ifeoma, he replied. Sir, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. We have the documents ready for inspection. The bank confirmed funds. Once you approve the property, we can proceed with the purchase. The landlord almost choked. Purchase? Kelechi, no, KC, turned to face them all. For months, he began, I have lived here as just another tenant. I wanted to see how people behave when they think you have nothing. Gasps. My full name is Kelechi Chukwuemeka, CEO of KC Holdings, he continued. We buy dyeing companies and build housing projects in cities like Enugu, Asaba, Abuja. He looked around slowly. Here, I saw many things. I saw people who insult quietly, laugh loudly, and fear only people with cars. I also saw people who show kindness when no one is watching. His eyes found Chiamaka. This woman gave me food when I could have afforded more, he said. She reduced price without knowing who I am. She tried to defend me when I was insulted. Chiamaka felt her throat close. So let me speak clearly, Kelechi went on. We are buying this compound and 2 others on the street. We will build proper apartments here, but not everyone will be chased away. He nodded to his assistant. We will prepare long-term, reduced rent agreements for some tenants, Mr. Philip the teacher, Mama Ngozi the widow, and Mama Chichi's food joint. Chiamaka gasped. You and your mother will get a new space in the front of the estate, he explained. Better kitchen, proper shelter, light. Your rent will be far lower than others for the first 5 years. Mama Chichi burst into tears. And for Chiamaka, he added softly, there is more. You said school stopped because of money. From next session, you will return. Tuition, books, everything, paid. You will study food and nutrition or any course you choose. That's my investment." She covered her face, shaking. "Sir, I don't know what I did to deserve this." "You were kind," he simply said, "when you thought I was nobody." He turned slowly to the landlord. "As for you, Papa Odinaka," he said, voice now cool, "we will pay you a fair price for this property. Business is business. But your days of shouting at tenants here are over. You will not be caretaker. You will not manage anything for us." The landlord's lips trembled. "Sir, a beg. That day—" "I remember that day well," Kelechi replied calmly. "And I told you to remember it too." He looked back at the street. "Let this be lesson," he finished. "Money does not write itself on forehead. Next time you see someone in torn slippers, fear to insult them. You might be embarrassing your future landlord." Months passed. The old building came down. Walls fell. Dust rose. Children cried when their favorite corners disappeared under bulldozers. But slowly, something new grew. Fresh walls, strong pillars, painted balconies, proper drainage. The sign at the gate read, "K.C. Residences, Ikena Courts," and near the gate, under a clean awning, a new food space stood with a glass front. Mama Chichi's kitchen, home taste, big dreams inside. Shiny pots set on gas burners, not smoky firewood. Customers queued under fans. Cashiers collected payment with small POS. Sometimes when the queue was long, Chiamaka tied her apron and helped serve. Other days she was away on campus, reading for exams, sending pictures of her practicals to her mother on WhatsApp. At night, when she came home on weekends, she would sometimes stand at the balcony of their new apartment, looking out over the street that once looked down on them. From time to time, a black SUV would quietly pull up. No noise, no siren. Kelechi would step out in simple clothes, greet everyone, and walk to the food joint. "Mama, where my jollof?" he would call out. "You no even go office again?" Mama Chichi would laugh. "Now here you dey live now." He would sit at one of the small tables, and Chiamaka would join him when she was free. "You're doing well," he'd say, watching how she managed staff, wrote things down, balanced plates. "I'm just learning," she'd answer. "That's how big stories start," he'd reply. One evening, as they watched people eat and talk, Chiamaka asked, "Why did you choose this street out of everywhere?" He smiled, remembering. "My mother grew up in a place like this," he said quietly. "She used to say, 'If God lifts you, no forget to bend and lift others.' I wanted to see if people here still had hearts like hers." "And did we?" she asked softly. "You did," he said. "Enough for me to stay." She looked around. The same Ikena street that once laughed at torn slippers now whispered another kind of story. "That man that used to eat here quietly, he owns all this place. That girl that served food with wrapper and bare feet? She is in university and this is her family restaurant." Children who hadn't been born during the days of the old compound would listen with big eyes. "So he was a billionaire and nobody knew?" they would ask. "Yes," the elders would say. "He walked among us. We saw only slippers. We didn't see sense. We didn't see heart." At night, as lights from the new estate glowed softly over the now tarred street, Kelechi would sometimes stand at the balcony of the top floor. He would close his eyes and remember. The first plate of rice without meat, the gossiping mouths, the landlord's shout, Chiamaka's small kindness, and he would whisper a quiet prayer. "God, never let me forget what it feels like to be unseen." Because he knew wealth could build walls, but only humility could open hearts. On Ikena Street, one truth began to live like proverb. Never measure a man by his slipper. The poorest clothes may cover the richest destiny. And the story of the billionaire nobody recognized became a warning, a hope, and a comfort, all wrapped inside the memory of a simple tenant in a back room who turned out to be the unknown billionaire. The night was still trembling. Chiamaka had barely recovered from the shock of seeing the black card with the gold crest when the stranger finally spoke again. His voice was quiet, steady, but heavy like rain about to fall. "My real name is Kelechi Obiezi." Chiamaka blinked. That name rang faintly in her mind, like one she had heard whispered on the radio or seen printed on flyers for powerful charity events she never attended. But before she could speak, the two men with flashlights reached the junction they had just escaped. Kelechi pulled her deeper into the shadows beside the crates. "They're not police," he whispered. "They're hired trackers." "For what?" she whispered back. He swallowed. "For my family. They've been looking for me for months." Chiamaka stared at him as if seeing him for the first time. "You ran away from your own family," he nodded slowly. "My father controls everything. The company, the foundations, even my life. He wanted me to take over the entire empire. But I wanted to live like a normal person first, to see the world without cameras, without bodyguards, without expectations." He looked down at his torn slippers. "So I escaped, hid in small towns, worked online quietly. And then, when they got too close again, I changed location. This time, I came here." Chiamaka's heart thudded. "So, you came to Akena Street to hide?" "Yes," he said softly. "But I didn't expect to meet you." Her breath caught. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't trying to charm her. He was simply telling the truth. A billionaire hiding in a street food neighborhood. A man who could buy the entire street, yet ate half-portion rice for 300 naira. Before she could speak, the motorcycle engines roared again. The trackers were circling back. Kelechi grabbed her hand. "We have to go." He led her through a narrow footpath behind old buildings, past scraps of zinc and broken buckets, until they reached a lonely corner where the night seemed to hold its breath. A sleek black car suddenly pulled up with its headlights off. The driver stepped out, tall, well-dressed, serious. "Kelechi," the man said, "it's time." Kelechi exhaled long and slow. "You found me." "We always will," the driver replied. "Your father wants you home." The man's eyes shifted to Chiamaka, evaluating her in one slow sweep. "And who is she?" Kelechi didn't hesitate. "Someone who helped me survive." Chiamaka was stunned. She hadn't done anything, yet those words made something warm spread in her chest. The driver opened the back door. Kelechi didn't move. "Chiamaka," he said gently, "I have to go, but I owe you something." He reached into his backpack and brought out a small card, similar to the black one, but white, embossed with gold lines. On it was a number. "My direct contact. It goes nowhere except to me. No assistance, no filters." He looked at her deeply. "If you ever need anything, help, protection, opportunity, call me, even if it's years from now." She held the card like it was made of fragile glass. He smiled the softest smile she had ever seen from him. "And tell Mama Chichi, thank you for the rice." The car door closed. The engine hummed. And just like that, Kelechi Obiese, the billionaire nobody recognized, was gone. The next morning, Akena Street woke up as usual. Women swept. Children chased each other. Men argued at the junction. Mama Chichi shouted at suppliers. Life continued. But when Chiamaka stepped outside, something new waited for her. A parcel, wrapped in simple brown paper. No name, no address. She opened it slowly. Inside was a brand new laptop, a sealed envelope, a small handwritten note. The laptop gleamed, sleek silver, expensive beyond anything she had ever owned. Her hands shook as she opened the envelope. Inside was a check, a number she had never seen on paper before, and the note read, "For your future. K.O." Chiamaka pressed the note to her chest. Tears filled her eyes, not from shock, but from the strange, overwhelming truth. She had met a man who had everything, yet chose to live with nothing. A man who hid his wealth from the world to find himself. A man who trusted her with the one thing the world never gave him, freedom. And she knew, deep inside her heart, this was not the end of their story, only the end of the first chapter of fate. The end,